Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Spill the Tea, the show where we interview guests so we can get a little information to help us with our post secondary planning. I'm your host, Keisha, and today we have a very special guest representing the Seminoles. It's Andrea Flores, the Assistant Director of Recruiting for Florida State University. What's up, Andrea?
Hi, it's so good to see you. So nice to be here with you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. For those of you that are watching that may not be in this area, we are, at least I am, in Central Florida. And of course, a large majority of our students here in Florida are thinking about Florida State. So we had to have Andrea on to, kind of hook up the info and help them, get the details on how to get in. So Andrea, let's not waste any time here. Tell us a little bit about FSU.
So FSU is a big state university. We are one of the 12 public institutions here in the state of Florida. We have an amazing public education system here in the state, one of the top in the entire country. So that's something that we're really proud to be a part of. We are located up in Tallahassee, so we're in the state's capital. Lots of stuff happening there when it comes to state government and things like that. We are also a quintessential college town. We share Tallahassee with another of our public universities. That's Florida A&M, FAMU, as a lot
Rattlers.
of people know it. Go Rattlers. But we're within 3 miles of each other. And then we also have an amazing state college, community college, as some people call it, TCC, which is just down the road from us as well. And so in the fall and in the spring, Tallahassee is a college town. Probably the vast majority of people there are under the age of 25 years old, are studying in college. So it's really great. A lot of stuff in Tallahassee revolves around college students. It revolves around that demographic. And so there's all sorts of really cool events, a lot of outdoor space in Tallahassee. For those of you who are in Central Florida, it feels like a different state. It does not feel like Orlando or your Central Florida area. Lots of, hills, I would say, maybe people from outside of Florida wouldn't call them hills, but definitely a lot more like hilly than the rest of Florida, big oak trees, lots of outdoor space. So it's a pretty cool place. You get to come and get a out-of-state feel for an in-state price, which is really nice.
And it's still within the same time zone, people.
Yes.
Didn't go into Central Time? Not yet.
No, not yet.
Well, since we are talking about a school, although I have been up there and she's right, it is quite lovely. That's the most I'm going to give you guys today. I'm a Gator, people. I'm putting it out there, but I do have love for some of the Seminoles. So with that in mind, what are some of the top majors that are at Florida State? What are the kids looking for when they're going there?
Yeah. So again, big school, right? So we have 276 different majors for y'all to choose from. So lots of options, literally something for everybody. Some of our more popular ones, our College of Business is probably our most popular college. Lots of really cool majors within that College of Business. So things like accounting and finance, management. Those are really popular. Psychology, computer science is really popular. All of our biological science programs. So a lot of students want to go to medical school, they want to be doctors. And so a lot of those programs that will help prepare you for that. Another really popular one is what we call our exploratory program. And exploratory is for students who aren't quite sure what they want to study, right? Maybe they have a couple of ideas of things that they like, or, maybe a type of job that they would want to have, but they don't really know how that's going to connect to what they're going to study in school, what specific type of program. And so what exploratory does is it allows you to come in, spend your whole first year exploring your options. And so we'll have you have an advisor who meets with you regularly throughout that first year. They're going to talk to you about all your interests, what you like, what type of job you might want to have, and really help you connect all of those dots. You start off taking your general education classes. So it's not like you're adding additional time onto your time in college or anything like that. And you don't declare your major until the end of that first year. So it's a really great opportunity. About 40% of our students come in under that umbrella. So it is a very popular program.
I totally believe it. Working with students throughout the year, so many times that I'm working with them, I go, what do you want to major in? I don't know. And that happens sometimes in May. So this
Yeah.
is like a great opportunity for them. So
Well, there's so many things too, because like even when you're in high school, right? Like you have what, 5 subjects? You have math,
right,
science, English,
right.
and like colleges expand that. We have 276 programs. So there's some stuff that you didn't even know existed, right? And so this is a
Mhm.
really great opportunity to get to know exactly what it is that you want to
That's awesome. So, okay, with all those majors,
do.
especially that one, you know, students are always like, gosh, is it huge? Is it a big school? Do they accept a lot of students? Like, what are the numbers like? How many students do you usually have applying versus the amount that you actually accept?
Yeah. So we are a pretty competitive school. We have been really blessed, I would say, in the past, since 2016, we've had record-breaking years every single year, in terms of application numbers and who's applying. And so last year we saw about 74,000 applications. So lots and lots of applications.
Yeah.
Um, Currently, we like our freshman class to be at about between 6,000 and 6,500 students.
Okay.
We admit more than that because at Florida State, we do not wait list. We don't do anything like that. And we know that not every student who we admit is actually going to come.
Yeah.
So we admit probably between 15 and 17,000 students out of that 74,000 number.
74,000 to how many?
About 15 to 17,000, depending.
Kids, if you aren't paying attention to that, please understand that's no joke. And Florida State is not, unusual. Many schools are like that too. So
Yeah.
now we really got to get into the nitty-gritty, Andrea. Like, okay, if they want to be in that 15,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of GPAs, what kind of test scores are we looking at? Because for those of you that don't know, many schools outside of the state of Florida are doing test optional. However, in the state of Florida, as of right now, they want those test scores. They want to
Yeah.
see it. So give us a little detail on that.
Sure. So I'm going to give you the numbers, but I don't want to scare you because I do want to put a little asterisk next to those numbers. And we'll talk about that after I give you the numbers.
Okay.
So our middle 50%, this year was about a 4.3 to a 4.6 GPA. Big thing to know there is that we do weigh the GPAs. Obviously, it's higher than a 4.0.
Right.
We weigh them. If you are an OCPS student, we weigh them a little bit differently than OCPS weighs them because every school district does things differently. And so we do things on a 5.0 scale, which means that any AP classes that you're taking, IB, dual enrollment, ACE, any of those things get a full letter grade of extra weight when you're sending them in to us. And then any honors, pre-AP, pre-IB, all that good stuff gets half a letter grade of extra weight. So if you are challenging yourself academically and taking those more difficult classes, you are getting a little bit of a boost on your GPA when you apply to us.
Awesome.
In terms of test scores, our SAT scores are about a 1,300 to a 1,430. And then ACT is about a 29 to a 32.
Hello.
But what I will say is that FSU, and one of the things I guess that has been a big blessing with the amount of applications that we receive is that we have a ton of qualified students applying to Florida State. There are more students that are qualified to be here than we have space.
Wow.
So what ends up happening is that, right. But what ends up happening is that we have to rely on other factors of the application to really figure out exactly who it is that's going to come to our school and who's going to help contribute to our community. Right. And one of the things that Florida State does really, really well is the community piece. Okay. We are a big school, but we don't feel like a big school when you're here. You do not feel like a number. You do not feel like just another one of the, 40,000 students on our campus. There are a lot of programming and a lot of community events and student organizations and things that really help you find kind of your smaller group within that larger FSU family. And so one of the things that we really look for in our applications are students who are going to come to our campus and contribute to that. So not only are these students good students, do well academically, but they're involved in stuff outside of the classroom. They're either, into sports, or they're into community service, or maybe they have a job. I know a lot of students have other, personal family things that they have to navigate. And so if you don't have time necessarily to, be part of the football team because you work full time, or because, you care for a younger sibling after school or something like that, share that information with us. We want students who know how to manage their time. We want students, obviously, who are going to do well in the classroom, but we also feel like that other piece is just as important, right? You have an essay as part of your application, and you have a resume. And we tell students, share everything, share your story. It doesn't have to be the traditional after school activities if you can't do that because of, your own circumstances. But share that information with us, because we're really looking outside of academics at students who are going to come and be able to contribute to our campus community. And so that's a really, really important piece.
Ooh, Andrea's spilling that tea already. Look at her. Love it. If you did not pay attention to that, go ahead and rewind. Just push it back a little bit. Listen to that again, because that was some tea for you. And thank you for that. And really, basically, she's telling you guys you have to be competitive. And I know some of our competitive students that caught on a little bit, or they think they're being ahead of the game. Some of them took some courses, did a little dual enrollment while they were in school. Do you guys accept those credits?
We do. And so for admissions, so there's kind of two different things, right? So for admissions purposes, we are only going to look at dual enrollment classes that fit into your kind of core classes. So English, math, science, languages, social studies, things like that. Now that's for admissions. Outside of that, every single college course, every single dual enrollment credit that you take comes with you to whatever college you decide to go to. And so that record will start your college GPA, and we'll be able to accept all of those.
Thank you, Andrea, because if we tell them, it's like, you say it, it's the gospel truth, girl. So thank you for clearing that up for them. So, all right. We have a lot of students that apply. We know that there's a lot of students that already attend. A lot of them may be hearing some of these test scores, GPAs, and go, ooh, I'm not quite there. Not far, but I'm not quite there. Sure. So I always get the question, okay, does FSU have a connection with a community college? Maybe I should start off at a community college or state college first, get myself truly ready, and then move on. Do you guys have a connection with them that kind of leads them to FSU?
Sure. So TCC, our community college up here in Tallahassee, they're 3 miles down the road from us. They have a program called Aspire to FSU. And so basically what it is, it's a program where you go, you earn your AA degree, and then you're able to transfer over to FSU. It is not a guaranteed admission like some schools have, but it does obviously kind of set you up for success. And as long as you're doing well in your college courses and you have the right coursework, it's usually a pretty easy transition to transfer in for your last 2 years. I will also say that if you want to stay home, if you're an Orlando kid and you want to stay home and go to Valencia College or Seminole State, that it works that way too, right? So you can go to those schools, you can earn an AA degree, and all of the public universities in the state have what's called an articulation agreement with all of the community colleges in the state. Sure. And so if you earn your AA degree from one of those community colleges in the state of Florida, it makes it very, very easy to transfer into any of the public universities.
Awesome. And, don't feel afraid. I know I hear from students, oh, it's like 13th grade. You guys, it's not. It's definitely not. And you think you're going to see all of your former classmates from your school. You won't. You'll see some, but not all. So yeah. They're
big places. They're not like a high school. So you will see. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with getting yourself more prepared or saving a little money. But hey, if you can get into Florida State and you start there, give us this tea. What is the graduation rate for a typical student going in? Do they actually graduate in 4 years, or is it a little extended?
Yeah, so FSU's got a really good track record for graduation rate. That's kind of one of those things that goes back to, us really being invested in student success. We're a big school, but we really want to make sure that you have the tools that you need to be successful. At Florida State, about 74% of our students graduate in 4 years. It's the highest 4-year graduation rate in the state right now.
That's really good. Yeah.
So super, super proud of that. And then about 85% of them will graduate in 6 years. Okay. So still pretty good. Yeah.
So they're not just sticking around to keep going to football games and, you know, hanging out for basketball and stuff. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much that happens, especially on Tennessee Street. We won't get there. We won't get there. All right. So now that, you know, they're getting all the back details, let's look at this. I'm a senior. I really want to go. I think I may have a chance. What should my courses look like this year as my senior year is starting? What kind of schedule should I have?
Sure. So there's tons of research that shows that students who continue on with a rigorous curriculum in their senior year of high school tend to do better in their first semester of college. And I know it's super, super easy kind of, in senior year to be like, hey, I got my graduation requirements, I'm done. I'm going to maybe leave early, or I'm going to, take it easy, take a couple, like elective courses or whatever. But colleges are looking at your senior schedule. And so for us at Florida State, you're applying usually before you have any grades senior year. And so what we're asking you for is to see what your schedule looks like and kind of if you are continuing on in that challenging curriculum. Typically what we consider a strong senior schedule is going to be at least 5 classes that fit into your core requirements, right? So English, math, science, social studies, world languages. Does not have to be one of each. If you're, big world language person and you want to take 2 different languages, you could do that. Yeah. But as long as, 5 of your courses fit into those core categories, we consider that a strong senior schedule.
That listen, as a counselor, like formerly in one school, I can tell you that's usually the biggest fight you have with a senior, where there's so many. And Andrea, I know you've been there too, where so many seniors are like, why can't I have 4 PE classes? If you did not listen to this woman just now, you better listen again. This is not the time to slack off. I know your parents may go, back in my day, things have changed since back in the day for the parents that are watching, and you can no longer slack off in your senior year. They want to make sure that you'll be able to make it at a school like Florida State. Again, remember those numbers. If you don't, rewind. Be kind, rewind. So, all right. Now, I talk about some of the parents, from back in their day. We have a lot of parents that may not have gone to school. We have a lot of students that they may be the first in their family to get into school. Are there, it's a scary time. It's a scary time. The parents may not know what's going on. The kids may not know what's going on. Are there any special programs for first generation students?
Yeah. And so that was me. I was the first in my family. I know the confusion. That was part of the reason why I got into this line of work, because I was like, I want to help, these kids and be that person who can help guide them. Cause I know that it can be really scary and really overwhelming, especially when, your parents may be really supportive, but don't really know how to navigate it.
Exactly.
And so FSU has lots of really great support services for first generation students. Our biggest program is what we call Care Summer Bridge. And so Care Summer Bridge is essentially a program where you'll come to campus the summer after you graduate from high school. So you'll graduate, come up to campus, usually towards like the end of June. You'll spend 6 weeks with us, and we will get you connected across campus. So you're going to take your first 2 college courses. You're going to meet the faculty that you need to meet. You're going to meet the people you need to talk to if you have questions about financial aid, if you have questions about where to live on campus. We bring all of the Care Summer Bridge students together, and you guys all live together in the summertime. So it's a great way to meet people and kind of find those connections, build those friendships with students who are in similar situations to you, right? Who are navigating the same things, and are really going to be a great, great support system for you. But the great thing about the care department is that it is not just that summer, right? So we're going to bring you to campus in the summer. It is fully expense paid. We pay for your tuition. We pay for your housing. We pay for your meals. If you need insurance, we will pay for your insurance. Like, everything is covered. But then you're going to come back to campus in the fall. And once you are in care, you are in care. Okay. And care is going to be that umbrella of support for you throughout everything that you do at Florida State. You can major in whatever you want. You can be part of any activities you want, but you can always go back to Thagard, which is the building that care is housed in. And you know that you will have people there to support you with whatever you may need. And so any questions that you have, They have care specific life coaches that'll help you just kind of figure stuff out, right? We've got advisors who are there, we've got financial aid people who are there. And so instead of having to go and, wait in a line at the regular financial aid department, you've got somebody there that's going to be able to answer your questions immediately. And so again, it's just that extra level of support, that little umbrella that's going to be there to help you. If you are hungry, they've got food. If you need a professional, outfit to go on a job interview or for, an internship or something, they've got a closet that you can come and borrow, a blazer, you can come and borrow, nice slacks. And so it's an amazing, amazing department. Even if you don't go through Summer Bridge, we've got some kids who go through something called Quest Scholars, which again is just that support system. And then you can always come into care. So even if you're not in those specific programs, but you're a first gen student and maybe you have a couple questions, that was me. I didn't go through care. I didn't even know it existed when I was there, but you can go in there and you can ask questions and, they can kind of, you'll be, have that support and have that advising, even if you're not in the entire program. So lots of really, really good things in the Fagert building.
That is so awesome. And I know, we talk about, there's different terms now, the term for imposter syndrome. I didn't even know about that, but I felt it, going up to a big school like that and seeing people from all over, maybe being the first time away from your family. It can be, challenging for some people. And it's awesome that you guys have not only the CARE program, but, available to all students, that there's a lot of support. So students just know if you take a chance to go up there, you're going to have that support. You can make it. So, okay, that was my little side note. Now let's help them stay in, or at least have a good chance of getting in. What are some of the pitfalls that you see some seniors fall into, as they start this application process for you guys?
I think it becomes really easy to start trying to figure out, like, what does the college want me to say? What should I say or what shouldn't I say? Or like, do I have to add a whole bunch of activities so it looks like I do more than I actually do? And so I think it's really important to kind of take a step back and figure out, like, who are you, right? Who are you as a person? What are you going to contribute, like I mentioned earlier, to our campus, and share that genuine piece of yourself, right? We read lots and lots of essays. We read lots and lots of applications, and we can tell so quickly if you're just padding something up. You're just putting it out there to make it look good, make yourself look good, or you think that's what we want to read. And, those things don't come off great.
Right.
So it is really just about figuring out, like, who am I? What am I going to contribute? And the great thing about being at a school the size of Florida State is that there's place for everybody, right? There's place for all sorts of different students. And so being genuine in your application, I think, is super, super important. Spending time on your essay, that's probably like a third of our application review is on your essay alone.
Wow.
And so don't blow that off as just like, if you fit within those GPA and those test score ranges and you're like, no, it'll be easy. No, like take the time to write something in that essay that you feel is going to be useful for us to know, or like something that we're going to learn about you that is, new.
That's awesome. Another spill the tea moment. I got to take a moment here. So now, just trying to bring it all together. We've got all the academics straight. We've got them set for senior year. And when they get there as a freshman, are there any special rules for freshmen there, that first year, things that they can and can't do?
We're pretty flexible, to be completely honest with you. You do not have to live on campus, although we highly recommend it. About 85% of our freshmen do live on campus, so we are a very residential college. But if you decide you want to live somewhere else, or you've got family in Tallahassee or whatever, you have the flexibility to do that. You can bring a car to campus. I know some schools will restrict that. We don't. I will tell you, FSU is a very pedestrian-friendly campus. There's not a ton of streets that go straight through the university. And so sometimes it can be more of a hassle to drive than it is to just walk or bike or, go on a scooter, skateboard.
Right.
But you can absolutely bring a car if that's something you want to do.
Cool. And when it comes to like getting a roommate, if you are going to live on campus, do you know how they put students together with other students?
So you have the option, if you know somebody, you do have the option to like tell them who you want to room with. So if you've got a friend coming from your high school and you guys want to room together, you guys can absolutely do that. But if you are not sure and you know, want to be matched with somebody, they do these surveys where they basically ask you things like, you know, are you a morning person? Are you a night owl? Are you somebody who needs, you know, music to study, or do you like complete quiet to study? Just things that are basically going to be, you know, deal breakers for a lot of people, right? And so you don't want to pair somebody together, somebody who studies with loud music, pair somebody that needs complete silence, because that's just going to be chaos, right? And so you'll get a little survey like that you'll fill out, and then they try to kind of go through and match students who have, you know, similar just personalities, similar types of interests in living together. The other really good thing about our residence halls is that you've got quiet study spaces outside of your rooms. You've also got like common areas with TVs and stuff like that. And so you're not confined to your room, but we do want it to be the best experience possible.
They still have libraries on campus, I believe.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
and I wish they had those surveys when I was going to school, because I had, never mind, we won't talk about my crazy roommates. So, okay, Andrea, you know, I don't want to keep you for the whole day, but I do want you to give a couple little tidbits to them. As a student, you know, Andrea actually went to Florida State. I know I didn't address that earlier, but as a former student and someone who works for them now, what, in your opinion, what are some of the top things that, you know, if you go to Florida State, you've got to do this? What are those things?
So FSU is I always like to say, it's that traditional college experience, right? So when you watch movies about what it is to go to college, like the football games and the tailgating and, you know, Greek life, sororities, fraternities, things like that, that is the quintessential experience that you will get at FSU. You know, lots of association with athletics. You know, our girls softball team did wonderful things this year. And so even outside of football, you know, we really rally around athletics and our teams. As a student, you get into all of these events for free, which is really, really nice. So there's always things like that happening. Greek life is also really big on our campus. But if that's not your thing, you know, we've got 750 different clubs and organizations on our campus. Like, there is literally something for everybody. We've got a big performing arts department. And so if you're into like music or theater or dance, you know, we've got majors for that, but we've also got clubs for that. I get a lot of students sometimes that'll come and tell me like, hey, I love music, or I play guitar. I don't necessarily want to study that in college, but I'd like to like keep it going. And so we've got clubs and we've got, you know, bands and things that you can be a part of. And so FSU is just really the culture and the community at FSU, I feel is what really sets us apart from other large universities. Yeah. You obviously get all the benefits of being at a big school, right? The options when it comes to majors and the access to research and all of that stuff. But it really doesn't feel like a big school when you're here. And, you know, you can walk from your residence hall over to your class and you can encounter 5 or 6 different things happening. You know, we have a circus on campus.
That's right.
We've only 2 colleges in the entire country that has a circus. You cannot major in circus, but you can take a 1-credit circus class. You can learn to like swing on the trapeze and like do all of those crazy things.
You're not making it easy for me not to make fun of Florida State here. I'm just saying. But
it's just a really great place to be. We've got a wonderful, you know, campus rec. We've got this place called the FSU Lakefront. It's about 3 miles away from campus, and it is owned by FSU. It's a lakefront with like a beach, you know, property. We've got beach volleyball there. There's a ropes course out there. You can go paddleboarding, canoeing, and that is free for FSU students. You can go out there. And so it's just a really cool place. Yeah.
They are not going to want to leave up there. So that's why they take 6 years. Most of them take 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, all jokes aside, Andrea, thank you so much for joining me today and giving our students a little idea of what it is to get in, what life is going to be like there, and just giving some real tea to get them started on their post-secondary planning. Thank you again also for all of you that are joining us. And if you liked what you see, hey man, just go ahead and like it, you know, subscribe. Hopefully we can bring you some more good content throughout the year. So I'm your host, Keisha. Hopefully we'll see you again on Spill the Tea. Take care, y'all. Goodbye.
Bye.